Let's mention that there's a lot of television publicity around this lawsuit, and maybe one of the more shocking things that we see, and it airs on a bunch of NBC newscasts, is an interview with Tully Blanchard, where he described the look that Vince McMahon wanted for his wrestlers. He called it skin stretched over cinder blocks, which is a look you can only get from steroids. And he said when he was with the company, they tested for cocaine, but otherwise it was anything goes. They said that was a problem for him because he enjoyed cocaine. And he
God.
said that the WWF had brainwashed a generation of kids. And because of that, he prays to God every night that someone takes the business down,
Wow.
which comes off as a very strong statement, of course.
Yeah.
We know these days what Tully Blanchard's up to. He enjoyed a little time in AEW and
Yeah.
having fun in Ring of Honor, but
I always look forward to going to work, Connie, to see Tully. Not
yes,
not the reason, but a reason. He's always good, friendly and smart, professional. And I've always thought that Tully was one of the best workers. That series he had with Magnum TA, the best of seven, was
unbelievable.
classic stuff, and it holds up today. Just as good today if you go back and watch it as it was when it happened live. In my opinion.
The I Quit cage match from Starcade. Go out of your way to check that out. But man, you want to talk about? I mean, this sounds bitter. It sounds like sour grapes.
Yeah.
Well, what do you make of Tully's statement here? He hopes it takes the business down.
Well, I'm sure he probably has a different opinion today,
Yes.
or at least I'm thinking he does. He didn't seem bitter or angry when I would see him on a weekly basis in AEW. But he was, he was might have been in a strange place at that point in time. He may have been on some sort of mood altering. Maybe that cocaine that he liked, he was on some when he made the statement. I don't know, but he's just was so talented, and he probably felt like that he'd screwed up. And here we are. Here's what I'm left with of my own devices. If you know they're going to test for cocaine, and that's the only thing they're testing for, my God, just don't do it. Or if you need help, let's get you to rehab. Let's clean you up. But there's a solution to this conundrum. And it's not how I can avoid the drug test and continue to do my cocaine.
So let's talk about some of the TV matches that are happening as we get ready for Royal Rumble 94. Some really great matches. You've got Razor Ramon beating Diesel, Shawn Michaels beating the 1-2-3 Kid. You're also seeing the debut of Thurman Sparky Plug.
Oh, God.
And Meltzer would say they seem to be doing a 900 line scam of the week. Last week, they asked fans to vote if Randy Savage should be allowed back as a broadcaster, which of course set him up to co-host WWF Mania. This week, they were asking fans to vote to give Jack Tunney input on whether or not Lex Luger should be allowed in the Royal Rumble. Of course, Meltzer would say, and this tickles me, which is a total scam since that decision was made in the office months ago. How is it a scam? That's not a scam.
I don't
My
know.
goodness.
That's a little harsh.
A lot harsh. Lou Albano, believe it or not, comes back to WWF TV. We haven't seen him in a while. I know Lou is an old school WWF guy, loyal to Vince's father, and Caesar kept him around. What do you think of Captain Lou coming back to TV here?
Underwhelming. Underwhelming in my view. He had drinking issues. As everybody, he had them for years. The stories of him showing up at the Garden on a night that he was booked, drunker in hell, is rampant. There got to be some truth to it because you hear it over and over at different times. So I was underwhelmed, but it's nice that Vince gave him a payday or two, helped him out financially. But the days of Captain Lou being a marketable heel manager had passed him by, in my opinion.
We should talk about this note from the Observer. There's apparently a major feud going on with Gene Okerlund and Jesse Ventura with Jim Ross. Okerlund made some sarcastic remarks about Ross on the hotline, although nothing serious. But Ventura has gone a lot deeper on TV, including this past weekend on Worldwide, asking about whatever happened to the fat Okie, and then made a remark about him broadcasting shows that have midgets dressed up as clowns. Like Ventura has never broadcasted on a show that had a midget dressed up like a
Yeah.
shark trying to blow up a boat. Ross on his WWF radio show called Ventura overrated and made comments about Dusty Rhodes' weight, which was equally ironic. So what the fuck is going on with you guys here, man?
Trying to stir up some, controversy creates cash. I saw it written one time.
I've heard that.
It was a work. It was a work. Ventura loved it because he could rib on the square, as they say.
Yes.
But it was a work and just a way to build the personalities of those that were espousing this information. So, in other words, it was a waste of time.
The Raw ratings are strong despite all the inside baseball. On December 27th, on a show that goes head to head with Starrcade, that's right, they had a pay per view on a Monday night here. Raw does a 2.9 rating. And the Rumble pay per view itself is built around the Rumble and 4 matches. One of those being built up to take place is Ludvig Borga versus Tatanka, but Borga gets an ankle injury and never wrestles for the company again. I have to admit, I wasn't watching at the time. I've gone back and watched a lot of this stuff, but this was during one of my lapsed fan eras here. Ludvig Borga, though, has become a controversial figure. I guess people discovered once he was already under the employ, he was not a good human being. What do you remember about Ludvig Borga, if anything?
Well, I remember us seeing his SS tattoo on his calf, and because of his wrestling boots, you couldn't see it unless his boots shortened. You got a different pair of boots. It was just bad. It showed his philosophy. It showed what he endorsed, seemingly. Why else would you have a tattoo? It's got to be symbolic of something. I guarantee there's a lot of folks out there listening today that have tattoos, and they all have some meaning to them. So that was a situation, Conrad. You just couldn't win that deal. The guy looked like $1 million. Looked like a WrestleMania main eventer in an 8x10. Had a great demeanor, mean, surly, but a lot of times guys that don't understand. Again, he didn't have product knowledge. He hadn't had a territory background. He was green as grass, maybe greener. So it's just, you couldn't get away from it. The media would kill you if they found out that you were hiring and endorsing a guy that had an SS tattoo on his calf. So we had to move on. Too bad too, because a lot of guys, including myself, thought he had potential.